Tariffs on the U.S. and world, and this is what we're going to be talking about for our first story. In his third week after being sworn in, Donald Trump has escalated the tariff war, imposing steep tariffs on its trading partners. Canada, Mexico, and China are in Trump's crosshairs, so to say, with a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico, with a 10% tariff on Chinese goods. Take a listen.
That have to balance out their trade. Number one, that's got to stop people from pouring into our country, and we've stopped it. They haven't stopped it. We've stopped it. They have to stop people from pouring in, and we have to stop fentanyl, and that includes China. Fentanyl has killed this year at least 200,000 people. It's pouring in from China through Mexico and Canada, and they've got to stop it. And if they don't stop it, the tariffs are going to get worse, a lot worse.
Now, we don't know precisely what that could look like, but I do know two things. First,
Mr. President, sir, what's your timeline for action? Canada and Mexico have responded swiftly with retaliatory tariffs. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced a 25% tariff on U.S. goods. He expressed disappointment over the strained ties with the United States.
if President Trump wants to usher in a new golden age for the United States, the better path is to partner with Canada, not to punish us, unfortunately. The actions taken today by the White House split us apart instead of bringing us together.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said that the U.S. is, quote, shooting itself in the foot. She pledged counter tariffs ranging from 5% to 20% on various U.S. products.
¿Qué le contesté yo?
I responded to the government of the United States. I told them clearly that we can collaborate and cooperate because it's important to cooperate and collaborate between nations, but never with interference. With them wanting to tell us how to do things, but with collaboration for that reason. I say coordination, yes. Subordination, no.
Coordinación sí, subordinación no.
China has announced it will file a legal complaint against the U.S. at the World Trade Organization, arguing that the new tariffs violate international trade rules. Economists warn that this development could trigger inflation, slow economic growth, and hurt American workers. Prices of cars, electronics, and daily essentials may be skyrocketed in the U.S. as companies pass on the cost to consumers. Economists also say the move will drive up interest rates and could lead to stagflation, a weak economy with rising prices.
These actions taken by the U.S. government were going to increase the overall economic uncertainty in the world. There are going to be quite some market volatility coming in because we understand that actually U.S. threaten the trading partners that if they retaliate, U.S. will going to impose even higher tariffs on those countries. So we may see a series of trade war and conflicts, and this may actually increase the world economic uncertainty. And actually, there will be some economic protectionism, trade protectionism coming in.
In his first term, Trump's tariffs on China triggered countermeasures that crushed U.S. farmers and exporters. If history repeats itself, American agriculture and manufacturing could also take a major hit. One of the biggest concerns is the impact on the auto industry. Trump's 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican imports could raise vehicle prices dramatically as vehicle parts cross borders multiple times during production. Experts say the cost will pile up, hitting American buyers directly. Another problem is the U.S. is near full employment. Even if tariffs were to boost manufacturing, experts warn there may not be enough workers to fill new jobs, especially as immigration crackdowns continue. All right, a lot to talk about. We are now being joined by Scott Lucas, who is a professor of international politics at Clinton Institute, University College of Dublin. Thank you so much for joining us on WION this morning. Donald Trump is defending his tariffs against China, Canada, and Mexico, while also hinting that the EU may suffer the same fate. How do you see things moving forward from here on out?
First of all, Donald Trump's pretext for these tariffs that it is about the opioid fentanyl is a lie. And we need to expose that to be prepared for what happens next. The fact is that only 19 kilograms of fentanyl were intercepted from Canada going into the United States last year. And from Mexico, 80% of the fentanyl comes in via U.S. citizens, not via migrants. So the tariffs are being imposed for another reason, which is that Trump is trying to bully these countries into renegotiating their trade agreements because he wants them to bow down to him. And of course, he is going to be vying with China as well on that basis. Going forward, what that means is that the European Union, which also is one of the U.S.'s largest markets, could be next, and India could follow soon after that. What we are facing is that for the sake of his ego and for the sake of his mistaken grasp of economics, that tariffs are a way to gain revenue and to benefit your economy, Trump's going to cause economic harm not only to the United States, but to other countries around the world.
So Doug Burgum said just a few minutes ago that this isn't a trade war with Canada, Mexico, or China. This is about fentanyl. We've had mass invasions of our country. We've been taking mass casualties. We lose almost 300 people a day for overdose deaths. And you talked about China, and Donald Trump has mentioned that he's concerned that these precursors for fentanyl come from China. So are we looking towards a full-blown trade war between Washington and Beijing, and can we even call it that?
You're talking about a trade war with many countries, not just China, because this is not about fentanyl. And I repeat, if you want to look at the facts on fentanyl, that the fentanyl is not a serious threat coming from Canada, so there's no excuse for tariffs on Canada, that it is not, the primary problem is not with the Mexican authorities, it's with U.S. citizens crossing that bring fentanyl in. And China has begun to take limited, it's not sufficient yet, but they began to take limited action against fentanyl precursors since 2023 when they reached an agreement with the Biden administration. So, we need to be very honest about this. This trade war is being waged for other reasons. And there will be no halt to it until Donald Trump either thinks that other countries have capitulated to his wishes, or there is so much damage to the U.S. economy that he is forced to back down. And no country, the EU does not provide fentanyl to the United States. So there's no excuse for hitting it. India does not provide fentanyl to the United States in the quantities that has been done in China in the past. But you may still suffer tariffs because this is about Trump's ego and certain advisors around Trump who simply believe in a win-lose relationship. The U.S. wins while others lose. And of course, the reality is that no one wins. No one wins in a tariff war.
And my final question, Professor, is regarding the American people. Donald Trump was very transparent during his campaign that he would impose tariffs on these countries moving forward. He got the votes. What are Americans thinking right now? How do you see the effect of tariffs spread domestically to consumers and businesses here in the United States? And is America ready for that?
I mean, there are going to be diehard Trumpists that will defend Trump whatever he does, no matter how much destruction it causes. But there will be immediate shocks to the American economy because of this. You'll see the U.S. stock market open lower within the next 20 minutes, about 2%. But that's the only beginning of this. Certain states up in the north of the U.S. are dependent upon trade with Canada. So a state like Ohio, which sends a lot of its goods into Canada, is going to get hit by the Canadian retaliatory tariffs. The U.S.-Mexico economies are integrated. So, for example, as you mentioned, the price of cars is going to go up by about $3,000 on average per vehicle because the car parts and the cars they're intertwined the way they're made across both borders. And that's true also for other products. So, no, the U.S. economy is going to take a shock because of this. And then it's the question of what happens next. Because as people get dissatisfied that they're getting hurt by this, does Trump back away or does he do what I fear, which is he will just blame other countries for the damage he's causing, Canada, Mexico, the European Union, migrants, and he'll go even further. Because here's the story that accompanies this. as these tariffs are being expanded, there is a coup which is being carried out within the US government by Donald Trump and by his unelected president, Elon Musk, to take over US agencies and to close them, to fire thousands of people, to put only their loyalists in. What they are effectively trying to do is to break the US system. And even if the economy is worse because of this, they'll try to use that as a cause for why they need more power, not less.
Thank you so much, Professor. I appreciate your company on WION. Professor Lucas, of course, we'll be watching very closely as these leaders are going to be talking today, and we'll keep our viewers updated. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon as well. Thank you.
Thank you.